Hi, today we're doing an origami project. We're doing part 2 of this particular project. In part 1 we learned how to fold the lotus flower, which is the centerpiece, and also the top to the star box. So this is star box. I'm just showing you the star box from many different angles. Here's the bottom. You can see it's like a box. Notice there's no tape. The folded down stars are what keep the box from unfolding. If these unfold and get out here like this, the box will start to come apart. All these other connections and intersections will come apart. So make sure the stars are creased really hard and those points always point slightly down. So let's learn how to fold star box. My green paper is supposed to look like the petals or leaves of a flower and the greenery around a flower. I want to start with the white side up. So let me slide this over here to the side, and let's start with the white side up of the star box. We're going to make an X, but it's going to be a different way of making an X than what we've done before. Remember, in origami, your folds have to be very precise. They have to be very exact. So when I bring that corner out, I want to make sure it matches with the other corner exactly, as close to exact as I can be, and be very precise and neat with my folds. After I make the fold, I use my thumbnail and run it down to leave a crease. Now, in our last project, we opened it back up and folded over to make my X. In this one, we're not going to do that. We're going to do a very traditional origami square base. So after I fold for my first triangle, now I'm going to fold across. So I bring my paper up and fold across to match that other corner. And so I've made a smaller triangle 2 times. Use your fingernails and crease it down. This is one of the hardest moves in origami now. This is how we start the square base. Now I unfold my triangle. I hold it straight up, kind of like a shark fin, and put my finger right inside of it. Put your finger inside of there all the way to the corner and pop it open. And here's the hard part. Now you have to squash it down. When you squash it down, all of these points must match up exactly. So when I bring it down, I'm going to make sure that piece right there stays tucked in there and that all my corners match, and then hold it down. Now I have to crease. I have to crease here, and I have to crease here. And you can see my square starting to take shape. Don't forget, use your thumbnail and run your thumbnail down it to iron it and crease it. Let's turn over to the other side. The same thing has to happen on the other side. I need to bring this triangle up. It's going to look kind of like a shark fin sticking up. I'm going to re-crease this crease right here, fold it back the other way. Now it just stands up like a shark fin. You put your finger in all the way to the corner. Make sure you reach all the way to the corner. Notice how that pops it open, and then gently begin to fold over. I got to keep all these corners neat and inside of the squares. So as I come down slowly, I push them in, I hold that down. Now all my paper is together. Now I need to make 2 creases, a crease here and a crease here. Use your thumbnail to iron it and crease it down very sharp. That's pretty good. I have just a tiny little bit showing. This is called the square base, and a lot of different origami projects start with the square base. What I need you to see about the square base is you have this end. I'll call it the arrowhead end because that's what it reminds me of. Notice it is closed. It's all green down there. This end we'll call the open end because you can see inside of the square base, you can see the white paper. Make sure you keep the opened end pointing at you now, because the next folds must be done this way. Open end, then you fold a thin triangle to this center line. I match it up exactly with that center line, and then I make my crease. Notice this makes a thin triangle, an acute triangle, and the most acute end is at the open end of my star box square base. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I need to fold an acute triangle. I'm going to come right to the center line, very carefully, and then crease. After you do both of those creases, you have to open it up. So bring it back up straight like a shark fin. Put your finger in here all the way to the corner, and that will pop it open and then squash it down. Now sometimes, like this one, it doesn't want to open up very good. So one solution is you can use a pencil. You can stick your pencil in there and get it to open up that way. So that's a pro tip for you. Make sure that line matches the other line and then crease it down. So you see I've made a small kite. Alright, same thing with this acute triangle. Stand it up like a shark fin. Pop it open by putting your finger in all the way to the corner, and then carefully crease down the folds. I use my thumbnail to iron out the crease really good. We're going to do the exact same set of folds on the other side. So now when I turn it over, I've got to make sure the open end is pointing to me. I'm coming to this line right here in the middle to make my small triangle. So get it right up to that line, then use your fingernail or your thumbnail to crease it and fold it out flat. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to fold this over to the center line very carefully. A lot of times I start to bend my paper and get it where I want it to go, and then I make the fold and then I crease it down. Both of these have to be opened up. So I'll stand it up like a shark fin, put my finger inside to the corner, pop it, squash it down. Crease, crease. Pop this triangle up like a shark fin, put my finger inside to the corner, pop it open, squash it down. Crease. Alright, so now we've got to do the X-Wing move. If you look at the top of this, we're looking at the arrowhead end again. I think it looks like an X-Wing fighter from the Star Wars movies. X-Wing fighters, their wings start to open up. And so once an X-Wing fighter plane is opened up, it looks like an X. You can see the X shape. Well guys, what I have to do now is I have to fold it X-Wing style all the way over until all my white stuff is on the inside. And now I'm looking at a green hexagon and a green hexagon, and my white folds are now on the inside of the X. Pretty cool. Now I'm going to use these lines right here, and I need to reverse the folds. Here's how that looks. So I go right there where I'd already folded, and I bend that back the other way. I come to the center line right there and match up the center line and then crease it down. Same thing here. I'm going to go right here on the fold, bring it back, crease it down. So you basically reverse that fold. You make it be folded the other way. When I turn over, I'm looking for these lines again. I'm going to reverse those folds and fold it to this middle center line right here. So bring it over, crease it down, bring it over, crease it down. Go down it with your fingernails to hold those creases in place. These are the points of your star box. So those are those 4 points right there. Now, before we fold them down like this, folding here, we're going to make a fold that will be the edges of the bottom of our star box. Here's what this fold looks like. Notice how I'm holding my paper with my second finger and my thumb. I'm going to use my strong first finger to bend. And my bend, my line is going to go from this corner to this corner. So it looks like this. When I bend over, I go from corner to corner and then crease that really good. So that's going to make the edges of the bottom of our star box. Go ahead and unfold that. Okay? Now, we are going to fold from here to here. The edge of that green corner to the edge of that green corner. These are our stars. As I said earlier, these have to stay folded down to hold the box together. So look, I just used the green paper to help me make the fold and then crease. Use your thumbnail and run it down your fold. Turn it over to the other side. go to this corner on the green paper, make your fold. Now we have to do the X-Wing move again. So notice how I just folded. I put those on the inside. Now I have 2 more to fold. There are 4 points to the star box. Fold it down, crease it out. On the back side, fold it down, crease it out. So I've done my 4 folds for the star box. This is finished now. All I have to do is open up the box. So notice at the top, it already wants to open for me. It already wants to show me where the box is. So I have to put my finger on the inside, and I need to push out the corners and push out these edges. So here's what that looks like. I just start to gently push and then rotate, and then I gently push from the inside on that edge again. I rotate again. I gently push, bring out the next edge, and here's the last one. Notice it's already starting to look like a box. I just gently push, gently push, and pop it out. So now to make this sit like a box, notice right now the bottom's kind of folded. Do this. Tug on the corners. Crease this down. Edges on the bottom of a box are sharp. So tug on the corner, crease it down. Tug on the corner, crease it just slightly. And tug on the corner, crease it just slightly. Now it really looks and sits like a box. Alright, remember the folds right here, that's what keeps it together, these neat folds right here. So that's got to be slightly down and holding it. Now I can go back to part 1, my lotus flower, and here's how to connect them if you want to use this for a top for the star box. Notice I have my 4 angled pieces on the bottom that are petals of the flower. I just start by hooking them. See how this is a hook? It just slips right onto the box, and then push down the 2 on the sides, hook, hook, and then hook this one in there too. And then if you've made them from the same sizes of pieces of paper, and I'm using standard origami paper, and most importantly, you estimated about 1/4 of an inch of a fold, it should fit well. You may have to refold this so that this opening right here is smaller. I can't wait to see how your lotus flower and your star box turn out. Don't forget, you might need to use a pencil for this project to reach in. It doesn't even have to be a sharpened pencil, but to reach in and pop open some of those folds that you're making. Thanks for watching.